And now a message from our friends at Fetching Food.
The 1970s and 80s had Elbow, Gravy Train, Purina, Meow Mix, and Bell Bottoms. You've changed your clothes, now change how you feed your pet. Like Bell Bottoms, kick the kibble and join us in the 21st century with the healthiest diet for dogs and cats. Feed naturally, feed raw, feed Fetching Foods.
Nice night. Pizza dude's got 30 seconds. Hey, Mikey, did you ever think about what Splinter said tonight? I mean, about what it would be like. You know, not having him. Time's up. $3 off.
122 and an 8. Terrific. Where the heck is 122 and an 8?
You're standing on it, dude. Just slip it down here. Give me that.
Hey, this is a 10. The tab's 13.
You're 2 minutes late, dude.
Ah, come on. I couldn't find a place.
Wise man say, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Hello, pups and kittens, and welcome to another fun-filled and informative episode of the Groomer Next Door podcast. I'm your host, Chris Green. Join us this week, Carly Spangler-Bass, an amazing woman who is going to talk to us about HempWorx. As you all know, I'm a huge supporter and fan of CBD and hemp. Worked wonders in our 9-year-old Peter. She's able to run around with her 1-year-old husband. Yes, I in a sense married them. And because she had puppies with him. And her daughter. And she's done miraculously on it. You wouldn't know that she's 9. Now, of course, she's raw fed, so that's going to have a little bit of a difference. But still, I want to make sure we give her every possible chance to live a very long and fruitful life. But before we have Carly join us, let's go into our fact of the week, which I find to be extremely interesting. So, Queen Victoria used CBD. One of the craziest facts so far, Queen Victoria of England used CBD to alleviate menstrual cramps. Now, I thought that was really strange. Yes, they didn't have Midol at the time. I'm absolutely thrown by that. And I hope that really threw everybody for a loop. And by that sound, Carly is about to enter the podcast studio. So with that said, welcome, Carly Spangler-Bass, to the podcast.
Oh, hello. Hold on a sec. Dad, we have a guest on the podcast.
This week on the podcast, we are very fortunate. We get to talk about CBD and hemp from a wonderful lady named Carly Spangler, and she is with HempWorx. And I'm really happy to have this conversation, and what makes this conversation even better is we get to talk about it from a bigger standpoint, more of a full spectrum, where we're able to talk about it in humans and in the pets. That's so cool. So thank you for being on the podcast.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm so excited to be here and to be able to talk to people about this. It's a great subject.
It is a wonderful subject, a subject that unfortunately isn't talked about enough. So I love it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with it. And that's why I decided to join HempWorx is not only do I love the product, but I wanted to be able to educate more people on it and get it out there and tell people how much it can help you, your whole family, including your pets, which is awesome.
So let's start with the easy question here. Tell us about yourself so we can actually get to know Carly Spangler.
Sure. I am a mother of 2 children, ages 9 and 11, and I work full-time in the medical industry. And I am very, very busy with just that right there. But like I said, I decided to start educating and promoting HempWorx, mostly to get it out there and get the word out that it can help you, because it's really helped me, my family, and a lot of friends. So that is how I got into it. Other than that, I really love to travel. I've been to many places, including the United States, and I lived in Europe, in southern France for a while, and traveled all over Europe and many other places. I have 3 amazing dogs. I have 2 pit mixes. I can just guess for days what they actually are, but they're my babies. And then I have a purebred Akita. My Akita is just over a year old, and his name is Kuma. And then the other 2 pups are Moose and Tony. And then the other thing that we're really big on here is fish. We have a saltwater tank and a freshwater tank.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, with cats, it's almost impossible for us to have fish or birds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. And that's how kind of our conversation all started, was the Akita conversation came up, and it's like, oh, okay, so let's talk about Akitas, which was awesome. Now, HempWorx. What's the origin story behind HempWorx and how it got started?
So HempWorx was started, I would say, less than 2 years ago. It started with a couple that was affiliated with My Daily Choice, which is a marketing company, online marketing company. And the lady that was affiliated with it, her name is Jenna. She had some health issues and was also into hemp and CBD, and started taking it and realized this product needs to get out there more, just kind of like how I feel. People need to be more educated on it, and it's really helped me, and it's really helped a lot of people in my family. So she actually ended up teaming up with MDC, which is My Daily Choice, and started doing direct marketing for HempWorx online. Fast forward a year and a half, 2 years later, and it is a $900 million company already, projected to be $22 billion by the year 2020. So it had exponential growth, and I started looking into it and researching it and was amazed. I mean, I've known about hemp and CBD for quite a while and tried many different products, and was just like, oh, it's got to just be another product that's on the market, but it's not. I actually finally took the jump and tried HempWorx, and it actually worked for me, whereas the other ones didn't necessarily work, or I had to use a lot of it in order for it to work. So that's a little bit of the background.
That's, it's funny because CBD and hemp really hasn't been something that's been on the market for that long. Is public. The only time you really ever heard of any kind of, cannabis, and I use air quotes, is for cancer patients. And even at that, it was still one of those, we'll just do chemo kind of thing. And that always drove me nuts. Yes, instead of doing something herbal, let's put chemicals. It never really flushed through my brain as how this made sense. But again, I don't have any kind of credentials behind me to say that. So I'm just speaking from the other side. I just look at the benefits in hemp and CBD, and it's almost to the point of, well, why have we not been exploring this or even doing more? And that's why I love talking about this subject, because it's so controversial. So many people say the same thing. Why would I want to, give my dog or my family marijuana? It's like, you don't understand. The THC is not there. It's just the herb. It's good for you. It's all holistic. And people still kind of have, even in 2019, that confused look on their face. Mm-hmm. And I imagine you see that a lot.
I was of the exact same mindset, thinking CBD is quote unquote weed. It's going to get me high. How could you possibly give it to your dog? How could you possibly give it to your great grandmother or child? But then I started doing my research and started reading testimonials. That's what really got me. Testimonials of, the biggest thing was people giving it to their kids. Mm-hmm. And I struggle with my child with behavior issues, but I was shocked. I was shocked. I was like, this is amazing. And exactly where has this been all my life? Oh, wait a minute. It's been around. I just didn't know about it. So many people don't know about it because, like you said, they think it's not, they still have in their mind that it's a drug. Well, no, actually this quote unquote drug is going to help you get off of all of the pharmaceutical medication that you're taking. And I mean, really, I like to think of it almost as a vitamin. It's a supplement. Take it whether you need it or not. It's going to help you. We all have that endocannabinoid system in our bodies, and we need it almost. You know, it's amazing what it does. Some of my biggest aha moments were when I give it to a skeptic person, a very skeptical person, and I was like, please try it, it can't hurt you, and getting them to take it is the hardest thing, but when they take it and they realize how much it helps, whether it's them or their animal, it's amazing.
It is. And, we were talking about our dogs before we started, and having a 9-year-old Akita, who, of course, we all know, hip dysplasia is possible in a dog like that. And we would give her as just a vitamin. It was just a treat. And she just bounces around as happy as go. I mean, she plays with her puppy and her, I would call it mate. I don't know what to call them. I mean, she loves them, so mate. And they just play and run. Today we're snow, and she's out there bouncing around in the snow, and she's only 9. But in terms of this new age generation of the mindset of dogs, 9 years old is senior, which drives me insane. It's not, but in the classifications of what it is now, yes, she's a senior dog, and she shouldn't be running around like this, according to certain doctors.
Right.
And that's what drives me nuts. And, obviously I understand that their hands are handcuffed. They can't really recommend it. It is still a narcotic in the books, which also drives me nuts. But it's so beneficial.
Well, speaking of that, the Farm Bill just passed, and it's not considered a narcotic anymore, so it's legal in all 50 states. So that was, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I mean, that was a huge change too, and that's going to cause even more growth in the industry, and more people to actually probably feel comfortable trying it for, especially their animals.
But this is something that's brand new, though. See, that's the real side, is that up until now, and even at that, let's even kind of sidebar it. When you look at this whole thing, this whole bill, it's all brand new, and majority of people still don't know about it. Because again, is it all on talk shows? Is this what's on, mainstream TV? No. So unless people are keeping up on this subject, which, let's be honest, we both know, a lot of people have just said, well, it's marijuana, I'm not going to do that, and turn away. I've even talked to my mom and told her this is actually good stuff, and she's like, I don't want to have marijuana. I go, no. And it's one of those subjects that's like, no. Here's what it is. And we're not going Cheech and Chong on all of this, and that's a reference for all you kids. If you don't know it, you can Google it. But we're not going to that degree of let's go get high, and go to Ashbury, or let's go to Woodstock kind of thing. Again, kids, Google it. But these are, the mentality that comes with this. It shocks me. And I know you face it all the time. And yet, you've got bills being passed. You have all this availability where 2 years ago, they couldn't ship this stuff to outside of California, Colorado. You had to go to a dispensary, and it was almost impossible to get this product out on the market.
This is very true. That's probably one of my biggest challenges, is trying to convince people that it's not a drug, that it's think of it as an essential oil or whatnot, but it's a medicine that's going to help you, but it's natural. And that is actually something else I wanted to bring up is, you saying, because I'm also in Oregon where it is legal and we do have dispensaries on every corner. The other big thing that we need to do is convince people to really, really pay attention to what is in their product, because not all products are treated the same. That's another huge reason I went with HempWorx, is because it's 100% pure, organic, and it's third-party tested, whereas a lot of products out there have a lot of additives. Mm-hmm. So it may work for you a little bit, but you have to take a lot more. Whereas with HempWorx, you want to take less is more, basically. I actually, when I first started taking it, I was taking too much, thinking that same mindset. Oh, I just need to start taking a bunch so it works. Well, I got sick. There's what's called a detox period, that it's getting rid of all the toxins in your body when you do take too much. Not that it's bad, you just have to get past that period of time. Mm-hmm. So you got to really, really do your research. Be careful. Talk to people about dosages. We have a dosage kind of chart for people and animals, like where to start at least. And then you kind of have to find your sweet spot as to what it works for you the best.
And see, people don't realize that, wait, detox, that would be if I was taking too much of it. Mm. No, we actually have so much chemicals in our bodies that it's like, if, for example, if we take sugar out of our diet, that detox is brutal. Yep. And that is almost worse. And I haven't tried that yet because I'm a coward and I like my sugar. Yeah. Unfortunately, I will admit to it. That's my addiction. And, so yeah, but, I've heard so many people say that they had migraines from it. They had illness. It was just like if they were on drugs. It's crazy. And so, yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, I started getting that just awful feeling, and people were like, well, why would you do this to yourself? Well, actually what I'm doing to myself is making myself better. I just had to keep telling myself that, on top of drinking gallons of water a day. I got through it. It was awful. It was like having a horrible flu, but I just knew I was doing it for a good reason. I did not want to give up, and I feel 100% better now.
Now let's go into a topic, because I've already been on mine a couple times, because I am very passionate about this subject, as you can tell. Mm-hmm. And I always like to hear other people's soapbox moments. So you've heard pretty much me already with me talking about my soapbox of all of this. What puts you on your soapbox at the moment?
As far as with...
It's really anything that you want. That's kind of the joy of it. A lot of people just stay in the realm of what they're talking about. Some people, they go outside the box. It's really up to you. That's kind of what makes the soapbox at the moment, whatever is getting you there, perfect.
So as far as me taking CBD, I started taking it for sleep. I would go to sleep fine and could not stay asleep, and was miserable, tired, grouchy, not fun to be around. And I started taking it 2 weeks later. I slept like a baby, and it was like, what just happened here? And I can't even explain to people how much that has helped me, and that's really what made me want to get this out there and tell the world about it and educate people. I'm not about selling it necessarily. I'm more about helping people and making sure that they can get the relief they need from whatever it is they have, whether it be them, a family member, their kid, or their animals.
And that's a really good point that you just brought up, because sleep apnea is such a problem. I would say majority of people have problems sleeping, or at least staying asleep, because of either too much caffeine in the day, stress, depression. There's a great deal of different things that lead to it. So, and again, you're busy. So what's always seemed odd to me, and I deal with it as well, is I could be up almost 24 hours, going. And if I don't take something to sleep, I will be up. It doesn't matter, because my brain never shuts up. And so, that's one thing that I have noticed, is that hemp and CBD do help kind of mellow you out a little bit, and not in the THC way, but in a holistic way where it's like, okay, you can just shut down a little bit and it calms it. That's probably why it's so good for depression. It's so good for so much.
Depression and anxiety, yes. I can't even explain it. I sleep now, and it's, like I said, I just want to scream and tell the world about it. And if you have sleep problems, why wouldn't you take it? I'm not addicted to Ambien or any of those sleep medications out there. I don't wake up groggy at all. I wake up feeling good and refreshed. And why not have that, if you have any kind of sleep issues? And I mean, I can go into all sorts of different medical issues, but the one thing I do want to bring up is with CBD is the difference between full spectrum and non-THC, because that's another big thing. They both have the same benefits. The THC free version, a lot of people like that if they have to do drug tests at all, because there's absolutely no THC in it, whereas the full spectrum has trace amounts. It's not a ton, but there's some in there. So that is something also you want to consider when you're looking into CBD. And now the dog treats, they have no THC, because THC is not good for animals.
Right. Now, I find the whole topic on marijuana interesting. It's kind of a side question. Now being in a state that actually has now, legalized it, and being a Californian, I've seen the same thing on that side. What drives me nuts is that people are more against the whole passing of marijuana, and I'm talking about the full with THC, than they are about drinking and driving. And that's what shocks me more than anything else, is that people have been drinking and driving almost since the car was invented. Maybe horse and buggy, let's go back to. I'm sure somebody rode a horse during the Western days who was drunk. The point is everybody seems to be on this. These dispensaries should close. This is terrible. It's going to cause so many problems. And I don't know why. And this is from somebody, and I always have to put the disclaimer out there, who has never even smoked marijuana. I have no stake in the game here. I don't really see it. I just know the holistic side to it. And I look at a dispensary and I'm going, the level of help that place is probably providing to people who need it. I'm not talking about somebody who wants to get high. I'm talking about people who really need it. Is just monumental. Where, John Doe goes into dispensary because he has anxiety and depression issues, could cause harm to himself or others. Doesn't have the dispensary, goes to bar, and then repercussions are astronomical. And so I've always had that issue, and I would love to have your perspective on that, because it's something I've had in conversation with people, and I just don't seem to get through. I agree. I'm even at a loss for words. I mean, I'd rather see people smoke or take CBD or vape or whatever than drink, because how many people have died from it? There's no such thing as an overdose of marijuana.
I mean, maybe you smoked too much and ate yourself to death. I don't know, but yeah, that right there, you don't see deaths due to marijuana or CBD. But yes, how many do you see from drinking? I have a few friends that have lost significant others due to alcoholism, and even they say, I wish they would have smoked pot. I wish they would have, whatever, just not drink. There's too many facts out there for, yeah. It frustrates me too. And I'm not against drinking. I'll drink every once in a while. I'm not a heavy drinker, but yeah, I'd rather just sit around and smoke or, hang out, watch a movie than get really drunk and drive around.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
get
it's just the education. I don't know.
You know what? That might be it. And of course, once you start to learn a little bit more about CBD and hemp, you start to kind of formulate your own opinions. And then you start to realize, wait a second, if I just look at it from this objective point and see this and this and this, and again, 2 years of doing different episodes like this has given me a lot more clarity than, at the beginning, I'm going to do an episode about marijuana and pets. And that was originally my mindset, like, how am I going to do this? Once I did the research, I was like, whoa, this is really easy to talk about because it's not what we think it is.
Exactly. I'm not getting my dog stoned.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand.
I know, but there's just so many benefits to it. I don't know why people don't try it. But that's what I'm here for. Little old me getting the word out as much as possible.
Well, let's go into something that I hope I don't butcher, but I probably will. And we talked about this before we started. The ECS, which is endocannabinoid
yes.
system. I think I got that right. I'm safe. But
yes.
But you have two different kinds of CBD1 or CB1, sorry. CB1 and CB2. Boy, I thought that other stuff was going to be difficult.
Tongue twister.
They are. So CB1 is the receptors that are found in the brain, and I forgot what I just wrote there. But it is found in the brain. And then the CB2 is the receptors that are found in white blood cells. And it's outside the brain. Can you kind of break that down? Because, again, this is really scientific, and this is in pets. So it had a diagram of a dog, and I thought that was really interesting. And it broke down, different spots in the brain. And I was just kind of like, okay, so, again, with me, I've always seen it as more of a muscular kind of help, where it's given my dogs more abilities to move around freely, but it does more, and it does it brain-wise. Can you talk about that in any way?
I can try. I'm definitely not a scientific person, but it can help as far as the brain part. It can help with anxiety for people and pets. So a lot of people use it for especially around the 4th of July when there's fireworks, and a lot of pets don't like that, or dogs at least. So it gets into the system. You definitely want to do it ahead of time and let it. It's not something that'll happen necessarily right away, is what I'm trying to get at. So maybe be consistent about it and give it to them or yourself for a little bit, so it gets running through the system, and then it'll get you relaxed. So when it does happen, and when I say it does, I'm talking about 4th of July in particular, but it's not just that. It helps calm your nerves, basically, and relax you and help you not worry about it as much.
I've had that exact same verbiage in a conversation, and they go, but that's the THC. No, it's not.
No, because there is no THC.
I know. But see, that's what the follow-up with people is. No, again, there's no THC. Oh, but then how do you get that high? There is no high. It takes the anxiety away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so challenging, and that's why I love having this conversation, because at least you know the struggles. And
yep.
When you think about dogs and anxiety, I think something that we really should talk about to that is that there is such a thing as separation anxiety, but that separation anxiety is not always the dog. It's actually the human, and the dog is feeding off of that.
That's actually something I never thought of, but that's true.
It's completely, and I can tell you from firsthand experience seeing it on a constant basis. You'll have Fifi come in with Jane Doe, and she's nervous and says, oh, well, Fifi is very nervous and she has separation anxiety. We take the dog, and you can just see this fear and panic by the pet parent. And it's not the dog, because the moment, and the dog's, of course, reacting to the pet parent, because it senses this anxiety that's coming over the actual pet parent. The dog is feeding on that and going, my my parent is having problems. I can sense this. The parent leaves, the dog's fine. There is zero anxiety whatsoever, to the point where they will lay down and go to sleep.
Interesting.
So it's really the pet parent. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a problem, that there is no such thing as anxiety issues with dogs. Of course there is. More so in a cat than in a dog. But, if you don't want to put your dog on puppy Prozac, what's the next best thing?
CBD, or put your... Right.
I was going to say HempWorx, but,
Right, yeah.
You read into it. Yes, but yes,
I was going to say put the pet parent on CBD.
Yes, and see, that's what I loved about when you started talking to me about this, was I looked at it and went, okay, well, we have something, and we haven't even mentioned it yet, that is human grade. So even down to and I'm taking a wild stab at this, but I think I have this correct. Even down to the dog and cat treats, those are as well human grade, correct?
Correct.
So that right there is the big one for me. That was the big kick, is everybody's worried about what's in their dog's food. Okay, well, here you go. If a human can eat it and consume it without any problems, we got ourselves something good, right?
Right.
Not trying to lead.
No. I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, that's the nice thing too about HempWorx is they're very transparent. You can go on their website and they have all their products and the label. You can pull up the label really big, and it tells you exactly what's in it. And there's not much in it. And right, I mean, I'm looking at the one for which one is this? It's the CBD, for pets. It's got pressed hemp oil or seed, CBD rich whole hemp extract, and bacon flavor. Mm-hmm. That's it. Nothing else. So why wouldn't, it's the same thing that's in ours, except for ours might have cinnamon flavor. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I would believe that a lot of people would love the bacon flavor just as well. Just saying.
It's bacon.
It's bacon. And we're not talking about those, pressed bacon treats that you buy in stores that are not bacon at all, and I don't know what's in it. Mm-hmm. We're talking about, bacon. So that's right there a massive, sell to me. But there's more. And that's what I found to be more interesting. When we were talking prior, you sent me this kind of poster, and it lists a bunch of different things. And there was one thing that stood out when it came down to the pet treats for dog and cat, and that was vegetarian formula. That's, or vegan formula, however you want to put it, is very important to a lot of pet parents. Because there are a lot of pet parents who are vegetarian, who are vegan, but they have a dog and they still realize my dog has to eat an appropriate diet, which is different from mine, but to keep them healthy, I have to do so. But if they can minimize it on treats, there you go. And I thought that was really a cool factor and nice little addition.
Yeah, it is very cool that it's vegetarian, and right, it'll be market to many people. I mean, a lot of people don't even pay attention, what's in things, but there's a lot of people that do and want to make sure that they're giving their pets the best thing out there.
I read a great deal of ingredients. It's just fun. And that's why when you sent that over, it was just like, oh my gosh. Only it just popped in my brain. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Now let's kind of shift directions, because like I had said, I wanted this episode to be a little bit more of a standalone for the human side. Since we've really covered the dog and cat side, we realize that there are anxieties, there are issues, and we should be sympathetic to it and try to combat it. But again, as I mentioned, the human side is probably fueling our furry friends.
Right.
Now, I was absolutely shocked because I have not seen this yet, and that was hemp-infused coffee. I'm curious. Can you explain that one to me?
I'm so glad you brought that up because I recently just got my first box and I was a little skeptical because it's instant coffee. I'm a huge coffee snob, but I got my box and I actually used it in my Keurig, even though it's instant. And oh my goodness, it is the best coffee. It's really, really good. It's an organic medium roast Arabic coffee. It is gluten-free, vegan, cruelty-free, non-GMO, has 0 THC, and it's got 150 milligrams of CBD per box, so about 5 milligrams per cup. So you are getting CBD in your morning cup of coffee.
And, we're burying the lead here. But you're not just going to have, your nice hemp-infused coffee. You also, for your creamer, can use, and for all of our friends who are on the keto diet, you can go with the keto coffee creamer. You have 2 different kinds of that, and you have, actually, I think all of them are keto. They are all keto.
They
so
are. There's
cool.
Hazelnut, vanilla, and mocha, and I have tried the vanilla. I put it in with my coffee and a little bit of cream, just plain cream, and I actually blend it in my I'm spacing out on what it's called, my Ninja, because it makes it kind of frothy, and it's the best thing. I look forward to it in the morning. I can't wait. That gets me out of bed. Besides sleeping well, I'm like, I can't wait to have my cup of coffee.
And what's nice about that is it's kind of like having your own version of a Frappuccino, but know what's in it, and it's a lot probably more healthy than a Frappuccino. And as I'm sitting here having one, so I'm on the other end of that spectrum, I do apologize for my inabilities to catch up. Unfortunately.
And for those of you that are doing keto, it is all keto friendly. I am currently not doing keto. I have in the past, so I know what you're looking for. It does help suppress your appetite for quite a while, which I know that's what the bulletproof coffee does as well. So yeah, it's awesome. And then, like I said, you get your CBD too. Help you through the day.
I think it kind of works in so many different ways. And again, you're treating yourself. Now, again, if you have arthritis, well, CBD hemp works really well. It helps with joint and movement. And that's a thing that it doesn't you don't have to be 50, 60, 70 years old to have problems. I'm in my 30s and I still find myself with different arthritis pains that I've occurred over the years.
Mm-hmm.
There is no such thing as an age for any of these things anymore. It's the same thing with any kind of depressions or anxiety. It's not a weakness. It's just an unfortunate fact. How do we deal with it? We can medicate it, but is that really the right way of going, or should we try to go holistic? Which is why I love this conversation.
Right. And great point on the age. I mean, I was a skeptic again. Very, very nervous about giving it to my children. Like I said, I have a 9-year-old and a 11-year-old, and I started giving it to my son because he has a lot of sleep issues and he's ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
I've been giving it to him, and it's really helped calm him and helped his sleep. It did take a while to get the right dosage and time of day because it doesn't always work for everyone at the same time. So that is something that you do have to work on sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I give it to him, and I advertise that. I tell people I'm not scared anymore. It's my choice. I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong. And he asks for it when it's time. So it's pretty cool.
It's funny you said that because my 10-year-old daughter has ADHD, and the only time I ever see her not needing to explore 50,000 things at one time is when she's in sports, because she has to do so much at such a short time. But for the most part, it's very hard for her to cope. And we were asked, well, are you going to medicate her? No, we're not going to do that. Because again, that was the answer, 10 years ago, that was the answer, and beyond and beyond and beyond before it was even diagnosed. Right. And now it's like, why would you medicate with a drug that will have more long-lasting side effects than something holistic that does not. It's not like I'm saying, here, smoke a joint, you'll be fine.
Right.
You know, it's I want the best. And another thing I always say is, do you give your children vitamins in the morning? Well, of course I do. What kind of parent do you think I am? Well, it was a question. Well, if you gave a vitamin, what does that vitamin have? And it's the same thing. Oh, I see, is usually the response. But, you know, it's that I'm not going to drug my kid because she has ADHD. That's not the answer.
But you'll give them a pill.
Well, they would. I would.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. But
yeah.
You're okay drugging them with a pill. Right, exactly. It's
you know, something that I don't know if you've noticed in your research through all of this. Have you noticed that there is a real fine line with doctors and veterinarians, you know, regular general practitioners and a veterinarian, that there's two sides to it. There's the holistic side, who is looking for the right way without over-medicating and using conventional drugs, and then you have your doctors who just want to push pills at something and say, it's fine. That's what I've seen.
Oh yeah, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of it's all about money too. You know, they're not getting the money if they don't push those drugs. So, but yeah, I mean, I've run into it in both aspects. I mean, even the therapist that we see, I told him about the CBD at first. Like I said, I was nervous, but I told him, and he was like, "Good, let me know how it works." I mean, but he's also for, you know, making sure the kid's okay and everything's, you know, working well. But I haven't told his actual doctor yet. We haven't been in yet, but I'm curious to see what would happen.
That'll be an interesting conversation. I don't know. It depends on the doctor. I mean,
it depends on the doctor.
There's only two sides. It's black and white. And I've seen some doctors, you know, come on the GP side, that are very much into the exploration of doing something that's more holistic. And then you have your old-time doctors who are at the old standards and say, you're wrong, and if you don't stop, I will drop you as a patient, which I find odd. Right? Boy, you read my mind on that one. So,
I mean, ultimately it's my kid, you know.
Right.
I want what's best for him. He or she doesn't know him in and out, so I want to do what's best. So,
but still, it's even to a doctor, sometimes it's a little difficult to say it's actually THC free. No, why are you giving marijuana to your kid? It's like,
I know,
did you not hear that? Did you miss the THC is missing from the component? I mean, how did you miss that?
I think that's why and how I've learned so much about this industry is I've had to do so much research to try to prove to people constantly.
Yeah. It's a weird conversation to have at times, and I don't know how to explain it. It's one of those. Please just read something. You know, read the right stuff. Don't just read anything. Read the medical journals that have been done that actually substantiate it. Because there's of course some that are out there that were made by non quote unquote holistic doctors. Mm-hmm. That's the ones that drive me nuts. Like,
right.
This is so many inconsistencies and things are incorrect. But anyway, I digress. So the next thing that I was going to say is I know a lot of people are worried about anti-aging creams and they want something and they want to make sure it's holistic and they want everything to be perfect. And so you guys have that. The Renew is right there and you guys have that. And you have a Revive cream. You even have, in a sense, an Icy Hot where you have the ice pain relief. All of these are just, they're holistic, they're good products, and as you mentioned, all of the ingredients are displayed, where I don't know how to tell people, see, you and your pet can treat and be so much better off.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to add on those, because again, you're there firsthand, you know this product inside and out.
Yeah, so I've tried the Renew, and I mean still trying it because it's going to be an everyday thing, but it is made with THC free CBD and apple stem cells. And I just put it on once a day, and I've already noticed the difference. It's really nice. I mean, it's hard to say without seeing me too, but it's been really good. I like it. I highly recommend it. I have not yet tried the Revive yet. I'm going to have to get that one next. But the Relief, like you said, that's the best way of describing it. It's like an icy hot, and it helps right away. You rub it on like a muscle pain or back pain or something, and you just kind of get this instant relief. So it's a really nice product as well. And again, it's all natural and has your CBD in it, and you can use it as needed.
And at the end of the day, if you're taking your supplement, and there's tons of great things here that you can use, you probably won't need the relief as much, or really at some point at all.
Exactly.
That's
exactly.
different.
I mean, it's good to have around in the beginning if you're having like severe pain, to rub on the actual area. But once the CBD drops kick in, you shouldn't really need it.
And there it is. So,
yep.
We had talked about, different things here, but now a lot of people are going to say, well, I live in Illinois, or I live in Kentucky, or et cetera, et cetera. And it's a non-state that recognizes any of this. Are you still able to ship to us?
Yes, every 50 states.
And that goes back to our other conversation about the bill. But, people are still going to ask that question, and I want to make sure we cover that.
And they're right now they're working on, I know there's issues, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but there's issues with sending to Canada, but they're definitely working on Canada, and they really are starting to expand overseas. And
you would think that, especially with Canada being a little bit more progressive when it comes to things.
I know.
You would think that, why are we having problems in that direction? I mean, that's the one that threw me off, and has been throwing me off.
I like I said, I don't know too much about it. I'd have to do more research on that, but I wonder if it's to protect their market. I don't know.
It might be. I mean, they are doing things up there that we're just not doing. And some things that I just would like to see us do a little bit more of, even down to research. It's a little bit more progressive, and it's kind of interesting in different areas. Of course, I love what we're doing here. I think that we're making a lot of strides, but they're doing things that are a little out of the box. So setting, this up there to a part of the world that really doesn't even need our stuff, because they kind of been doing this for a while. That might just be it. Like you said, it could be the market. They don't want to hurt it.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I mean, that being said, yes, we do send to all 50 states, no problem.
And that's a good thing.
And I mean, you just order online and it goes right to you. So it was a little bit challenging here in Oregon, because everyone's like, I can just go down to the dispensary. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine, but can you tell me what's in the stuff you're getting from the dispensary? Is it pure? Is it really helping? So that's been a challenge with the places that are do have dispensaries and it's legal.
I always think that it in some sense, I would like to start to see the dispensaries be a little bit more coffee shop like. I mean, I passed one when I was in California. I didn't go inside. I was very curious, but I never actually saw one, and I would just like to see more of that coffee shop kind of environment. I think it would be more fun. Just saying. We can make them a little bit more, upbeat.
So like Canada.
Yes, exactly. That was kind of the thought.
Or the Netherlands.
The Netherlands, yes. No, you got that one on that one. Perfect. So what have we not covered?
Let's see. Oh, I guess we could talk a little bit about flavors.
Okay.
We do have and amount, basically. So there's the 750 milligram and 500 milligram. The 750 milligram is the highest amount, but I actually recommend the 500 milligram because, like I said, less is more. You don't need a ton at once, and you don't want to get yourself too sick right away. kind of ease your way into it. There's 3 flavors. There's natural, cinnamon, and peppermint. I personally like the cinnamon. It's like big red gum or something.
Okay.
But none of them are bad. None of them have that weed taste or that, I don't have a problem with it at all. And as far as taking it for a human, the best way to take it is sublingually. I put it under your tongue, however many drops you're taking. Leave it there for about 30 seconds because you want it to absorb in, and then you can swallow it. That's the best way to take it. As for animals, if you have luck, you can try to give it to them like that, but I know that's a little bit more challenging. I just put it on my dog's food every morning, and they come running over. So, those are the different ways of taking it, the oil.
And for people to get more information or to contact you, is there anything that you'd like to give them?
Yeah, so if you want any more information about the products or how to buy it or even the opportunity of selling it yourself, the best way to reach me would be, I could give you my website and my email address. So my website is http://www.hempworx.com/Carly, Carley, B as in boy, S as in Sam. That's the website. However, if that's too much, you can just email me and I can send you any information you need. It's my email is Carley, Carley, B as in boy, S as in Sam, @gmail.com.
I will put that in the show notes, so you guys, you don't have to worry about rewinding and playing. You can find that in the show notes with a little bit more as well. Anything else that you'd like to say?
I guess one other thing is you can find me on Facebook. That's a great way to do it. I'm under Carly Bass Spangler.
All right. Well,
but no, I mean, I just hope this can get out there. If I can help one person, I'd be happy. I mean, that's my big thing. I just want to help people and get it out there, get people educated.
It's the education side. You don't have to say, well, I have to suffer quietly in pain forever because I'm not going to take any kind of prescription drugs. There is another way. And again, one thing that really got me about this conversation was we're not just going to isolate it and say, well, okay, for your dog, for your cat, and let it be. We've done that. Let's get a little bit more progressive and talk about even the human aspect of it. So all can be in a little bit less pain and a little bit more of an enjoyable life.
Right, exactly.
All right. Well, thank you, Carly, for being on. As always, please let me know if you want to come back anytime. We'll have more conversations on the same topic and more. I'm Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.